Mr. Chairman, this morning's hearing could be the only opportunity the Democratic senators have to question a top Trump official about the truly disastrous bill Republicans are writing behind closed doors. Robert Kennedy Jr. has been invited to appear. It looks like he's ducking us. Oz is waffling on the promise he made in this room to hear from rural Oregonians about this bill's catastrophic Medicaid cuts. There's a legislative wrecking ball about to devastate the lives of millions of Americans. That needs to be the focus of this hearing. While Senate Republicans are making these small tweaks to their bill, countless millions of people across the country feel like they're living on a knife's edge. Nurses and firefighters, teachers and machinists, they're living paycheck to paycheck, barely staying ahead of the bills. They're overworked and they're concerned about providing for their kids or caring for an older loved one. They see a rigged economy that creates enormous prosperity at the top, but denies it to nearly everybody else. The plan Donald Trump and Republicans are scrambling to pass is going to do virtually nothing for them. In fact, it would make their lives worse. It's no exaggeration to say the Republican plan would ruin millions of lives to help the ultra-wealthy buy yachts and vacation homes. Their bill isn't a tax and spending cut, it's a class war. It is caviar over kids. It is Mar-a-Lago over the middle class. The version that passed the House, the only text we have to go by now since this is all unfolding in secret, includes the largest cuts to health care and food assistance in American history. More than $800 billion cut out of Medicaid, nearly $300 billion cut from the Affordable Care Act, more than $500 billion in automatic cuts to Medicare. For Donald Trump and Republicans to hide behind the flimsy claim that this will not cut benefits is absurd. To say their bill protects seniors and kids and veterans and people with disabilities is absurd. It's insulting to the intelligence of millions of people who have health insurance today and stand to lose it as a direct result of this bill. 16 million Americans lose their health care. Working class and middle class Americans will be ensnared in a thicket of red tape, costing them their Medicaid and ACA benefits and making health coverage entirely unaffordable. This is going to inflame the mental health crisis in America. It's going to set back our progress against fentanyl deaths. Kids with disabilities will lose home care and school-based services. The cuts are going to shutter rural hospitals and take nurses out of nursing homes, exposing seniors to abuse and neglect. My view is the $300 billion cut to SNAP can only be described as cruel. 2 million kids lose some or all of their food assistance they receive today. It's just unthinkable that elected leaders in a country as rich as ours would knowingly inflict hunger on millions of kids. It'll set those kids back for years and years. A new study on the health issue found that the bill will cost thousands and thousands of lives, preventable deaths each year. Why make that choice? Why ruin all these millions of lives by stripping away their health insurance and jacking up the cost of living to pay for handouts to big corporations and the wealthy? That is an awful choice that Donald Trump and Republicans have made. The bill gives big corporations $1 trillion in new tax breaks, and they're hiding the cost once again with budget gimmicks. It would give the top 0.1% of earners a tax break of more than $250,000 each year. Looking just at the tax changes, the typical lower income family would be lucky enough to cover groceries for a week in the Republican plan. 14 million families, particularly those of modest incomes, are going to get a tax increase. And when you factor in the Medicaid cuts, the food assistance cuts, and the tariffs that the secretary who joins us today once denied American families would not pay, Nobody outside the fabulously wealthy is going to benefit from the tax changes at all. That overall Trump agenda is a big net loser for the vast majority of Americans. That's not tax reform. That's not a spending cut. That is a class war. Millions of atypical families will be made worse off, and tens of thousands of people will die preventable deaths each year to pay for tax breaks for corporations and the very rich. That's what Republicans have to offer. So this committee has a chance now to have a serious debate. I'm sure there are one or two people in the room who may share a different view than I do. Let's have a serious debate, because this is a watershed moment that's going to change our country for generations to come, and it should not be playing out in secret. And one last point I want to mention, Mr. Chairman, I think there was questions about the process. We are asking for the kind of open markup, the kind of thing we did on clean energy taxes, where we debated in this room and elsewhere for hours and hours in open, and there were lots of amendments. Let's do that for the big issues. We did it on clean energy.
Well, before I get to you, Secretary Bessent, I just have to say the markup you're talking about had nothing to do with what went into the reconciliation bill. And the reconciliation bills that were done in the last administration were done exactly through the same process that we are pursuing today.
Mr. Chairman, if I could, clean energy is in the reconciliation bill.
But not the one we marked up.
We had a big debate about it, and essentially it is those issues that Republicans are against, and we debated it in open session. I want to do that. That's what my colleagues want to do.
Well, as you can see,